Hi, and welcome to episode 8 of the Sheer Business Inspiration podcast. I'm Jo Ferreday, and in today's episode, I'm going to be chatting with Liam Norval. Now, Liam is the founder of Posh Cockney. He has also become a co-founder of Hospitality Titans, and he'll tell us all about that initiative. He's been doing really well with Posh Cockney TV and the brilliant sessions that he's done with London after lockdown. There's so much more to tell you, so please tune in and let us know what you think. Hope you enjoy.
Hey guys, I'm Liam Norval and this is Posh Cockney TV, and this is our brand new show, London After Lockdown. I'm going to take you on a tour around London to meet some of the biggest names in the hospitality industry, and they're going to tell us how they've adapted since lockdown's been lifted. If you love hospitality and you love London, this is the show for you.
Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of the Sheer Business Inspiration podcast. I'm really pleased to have Liam Norval with us today. Welcome, Liam.
Hey Jo, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Thanks for joining us. Before we get into the nitty gritty of, we've literally got so much to ask you in this time, but for those that aren't familiar with your backstory and a little bit about you and your background, do you mind sharing a bit about, where you've come from, where you've been and what you're up to?
No problem at all. So, I was a professional football player up until the age of sort of 20, a short career. But it taught me a lot in those days. I was always a winner, so I wanted to, go on and do great things. And in my last year as a football player, I was a DJ, and cut long story short, I was DJing for Head Candy all over Europe, and then I got into the club life game and started running my own club nights, and then went to work for a gentleman called Nick House at London parties, and soon grew up the ladder there, rose up the ladder, sorry. And Café de Paris was one of my first clients, and it was an incredible client to have. And I spent, in the end, nearly 10 years there. Ended up as director of the club, and then went into Maxwell's group, which owned Café de Paris, and I was director there as well. And then I went over to the Proud group with Alex Proud for just under a year, and it was the best job I ever had, Joe, because it taught me that I never wanted to work for anyone again. I wanted to have my own business.
That's the danger, isn't it? That's the thing. Yeah. You find, your calling, what you're meant to be doing. I think that's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah, at Cafe, I had a great time at Cafe, and when I was leaving, I was setting up my own shop then, and Proud called, and I said, look, let's go for another challenge. And when you've been in the industry for over a decade and you've built up an incredible client base, and you know what you want to do, the time was probably right to do that then, but I am where I am now. I started Posh Cockney March 2019. Phenomenal first year, and now we've all been involved in 2020, which has been some would say the write-off year, but we've used it to grow as a brand, and we've done some good things, and it's been, I've got to meet you, Jo, during the time. So
yes, we did. It has been a year of change, hasn't it? Yes, the pandemic's happened, and yes, it's been devastating for many, and there's no industry that's been more affected than the hospitality and events industry, of which we're both part of. What words of motivation would you give to industry colleagues right now, in terms of a way forward?
Well, nobody's got a crystal ball, as you've probably spoken to many people over the last few months. We just spoke before we started recording about how everyone during this year has come together collectively. We'll talk about it in a minute, but I'm now co-founder and chairman of the Hospitality Titans, which is an organisation we've put together with a gentleman called Pete Warden, who's the hospitality director at LXA. The organisation's all about helping people in our industry, top CEOs, managing directors, senior management, sharing best practices, referrals. The whole point of it actually was meant to be a platform for sort of the new world. We're looking at 2021, 2022. We're all keen investors. We're all keen entrepreneurs looking for, what's the next big thing. I think if you look back in 2008, after the Lehman Brothers crisis, I think you had Uber, you had Airbnb, you had Instagram, you had Facebook. All these things grew after this crisis. I know it's slightly different, but after a crash, there's always going to be some opportunity. So we've put together this group to sort of be that platform for the new talent, because unfortunately, Joe, in the next couple of days, redundancy will kick in for many people with the furlough finishing. So there's going to be so many talented individuals that have been in our industry that might have an incredible idea but not have the right skills to pull it off, or they need funding, or they need agencies like Posh Cockney to do the marketing and PR as well as sort of other parts of their business. So we put that together, and it's been a phenomenal response so far. People wanting to know more about what it is.
I think that's the thing. Well, that you want to create that industry buzz again, though, don't you? And I know you personally, you were one of the first people during lockdown that actually opened your arms and said, let's have some one-to-ones, let's have some catch-ups. We had a catch-up, offering guidance, support where you could, just ideas, but to keep talking and keeping that message out there is just so really important. I think the worst thing in the world to do is to go quiet and not be or do things. I mean, that's some of the best advice you gave, us as a business. We've just kept our conversation going and made sure that our clients and our wider audience knew what was going on. I mean, you most definitely are the sort of person that reaches out and offers support. Did you get many that took you up on that one-to-one support at that time?
Well, you're talking about, we did the free 30-minute consultation.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
And we actually had just under 500 businesses reach out to us across the UK and some in Europe as well. So we had a fun couple of weeks back to back on calls. I think we converted in the end. I think not a huge amount. I think we converted 6 into clients, which was fantastic. But at the end of the day, we wasn't looking really to convert. We were looking to help. And you're right. This year has just been about helping, growing your network. I mean, there's nobody bigger on LinkedIn than you, Joe. And I spoke to you when you was on my podcast.
It's my favourite platform. I can't help it.
Exactly, but it's all about growing. And if you've used 2020 just to be silent, then I think that was the bad way to go. I mean, I didn't know you before this pandemic hit, Joe, and there's many like you like that. So I've looked on the positive side of this and bring on 2021. Yeah,
well, I mean, I think that's the absolute way that you've got to look at it. And like you say, you've got to look at, yes, there are difficulties, but in life is full of them, and you have to look at what you're presented with and what you do about it. And as you say, you were a professional footballer, so you've how did that affect you in terms of, obviously you had your career stopped quite suddenly, really, so how did that impact you?
I mean, football for me is I don't talk about it too much because it did affect me a lot. When you have been built up from the age of 7 to be told how good you are, and you come through incredible academies like West Ham, and then you move to Leicester at the age of 17, and it's a big thing on your life because you've got so much expectation and your family sort of expecting things, and you've built yourself up, and then suddenly when your career ends, you have to sort of where do I go now? What do I do? It's that sort of question. And unfortunately, we saw in the press this week, I'm not sure if you saw it, a young lad up at Manchester City, 17 years old, committed suicide for being released. And you know what, that happened. I'm surprised that doesn't happen a lot because thoughts was for family and friends, but the pressure for young kids to make it is just astronomical.
It's immense, and that there's got to be more support really for that. And thank you for sharing that with us. But I mean, if there's anyone that can say about resilience and bouncing back and paving a new way when you're presented with something that, like you say, you know, you're conditioned to be a footballer. That's what everybody anticipated. That's what your career path was going to be. But you've now paved your own successful entrepreneurial way through a completely different path. And I think that's admirable. That, you know, that's got to be applauded. And that's such a strong message for people that might have started somewhere and they can't continue, but they don't know what to do, but that there are options out there, and it's about understanding what they are and how they can adapt to that change. So thank you for sharing that with us. I know it's a bit tricky sometimes when you get asked these sort of questions and it's not something you want to talk about much, but I think it's important. So one thing I know about you is you definitely are an entrepreneur through and through, and there are many, as we've discussed, that are going to be faced with the fact, do they apply for jobs or do they try and set up their own business? I mean, I was quite late coming to the party. I'd had almost 2 decades worth of working in the hospitality and events industry, but the reason I set up Sheer Edge was because I had my son, and I didn't want to return to work full time and miss out on that time. There's going to be loads of people that have been made redundant or have made the decision actually that they want to start out. So what advice would you give to them?
I would reach out to somebody on LinkedIn, for example, and find a mentor or somebody that you can trust that can give you some really good guidance. You know, work out what your best skills are. Yeah. Try and, you know, for me, if you was on furlough, you should have been training to do something else already. If you was a bartender, I would have been suggesting you learn how to DJ, or, you know, if you're a cloakroom girl, learn how to be on reservations. I'm just talking about restaurants right now and venues, because, you know, multi-skilled people in hospitality are the future. Operators all over the country are going to be looking to, unfortunately, trim down their sort of workforce. But if you've got the talent to, you know, take on 3 or 4 jobs within a business, you know, you're going to be in it for the long game. I mean, mentorships, for me, I use mentors. I won't mention who they are, but, you know, I look for, you know, A-list people in business to help me through, because sometimes decisions you make on your own, they might be right to you, but unless you've had some advice from somebody else where you can talk it through, you might make the wrong one. So I sometimes, you know, if I'm worried about something or I've got a new business opportunity, I want to pick the brains from some experts. So reach out to people, somebody you know, somebody, it doesn't even have to be in hospitality, but, you know, somebody who you trust and you know that they have got your best interests. Yeah. Talk to people. Now's the best time to build those relationships, and, you know, who knows what path you'll be on, but, you know, by no means is it going to be easy. You just got to hang in there, and you know, hopefully there'll be jobs for everyone at the end.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing about running a business. It isn't easy. If it was, everyone would do it. But, you know, if you've got that resilience and determination and you can grit your teeth and say, right, I know what I want to do and what I want to go for, as long as you surround yourself with the right people, I totally agree. I think, you know, you can make a really good success story of it. So for those of our audience that aren't familiar, obviously you've mentioned about Posh Cockney. Can you tell us what made you start Posh Cockney? What's it all about? A little bit about that.
I get asked this question a lot, and it's always makes me laugh when I talk about it. So Jack Whitehall is one of my best friends, and we was going to start a restaurant together. I had this idea of the Posh Cockney. It was going to be like East End food, but cooked in like a fancy way over in Notting Hill or Putney or something like that. And when I left Proud, I decided, look, I need a great name for the business, and I love Posh Cockney.
It's a great
I thought,
name.
You know, it's got a yin and yang effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want it to stick. And we originally started as an events agency. It was Posh Cockney Events, and very quickly I pivoted and added more services to the company. And luckily, when you're new, and you'll know this, when you're new, you can be nimble. So where we started as events, right now, if we was just an events company, it would be very tough for us. 85% of our business now is digital. That's web development, social media, PR, Google ads, SEOs, everything you can think of to increase your digital footprint, we do. And now the other 15% of our business is recruitment, funny enough. So just touching back
Oh
on
my
your
goodness!
other
So you've
comment.
had, yeah. So it's completely changed. I guess
Yeah.
you've been really busy for both, because people always look at their marketing, don't they? In downturns, that's one of the primary things that people really need to focus on. So I'm guessing you've been stacked out.
Well, there's never been a better time to be online because everyone's working from home. And as
Yeah.
you know, when I used to work from home for other people, you spend more time surfing the net. You're looking at, you're just scrolling down your phone on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever the platform you're on.
Yeah.
So it's never been more important for anyone to have really, really creative content online right now. So luckily, Posh Cockney have been there to pick up the pieces.
Brilliant. And I know you've recently launched Posh Cockney TV, and also you recorded some brilliant sessions that are entitled London After Lockdown. So we'll be sharing all your links so people can go and have a look at this. But and they were really well received, and I understand absolutely why they were. But so can you tell us a bit about those things that you've got going on at the moment as well?
Yeah, London After Lockdown was a huge success. I think we did 45 interviews in 5 days with some of the top people in hospitality in London. We really wanted to find out how people had reacted and come out of the first lockdown. I'm hoping I don't have to film London After Lockdown too, because that would
Oh
really
no,
cripple our
yeah,
industry.
no, I don't, yeah.
Um,
Let's not
you
think
know,
about that.
I know. I mean, I've got a full productions team now, so we've got two videographers, two technicians, two photographers. So we're actually creating YouTube channels and accounts and podcasts for other businesses now. Not only
Brilliant.
in hospitality, we've just signed a client in property today, one in banking last week. I think people can see the importance of a consumer understanding what goes on behind the scenes and how a business works.
Yeah.
That's why I think podcasts and YouTube channels are so important, because you can really get under the nails and find out, how a business ticks, the highs and lows. And I love seeing that, the success stories and, what it takes to be a business person, a company, an entrepreneur, an employee. That's what Posh Cockney Productions are doing right now. So watch this space. More series are coming very soon.
Fabulous. We love to immerse ourselves in all of those things, because they are really great and really topical and entertaining as well. So you've got a beautiful daughter. So
Thank you.
taking it completely away from business for now, because we all have a personal home life. We're in the middle of a half term now. How did you find running your business alongside having your daughter home during lockdown? How did that work for you?
Let me just take it back a little bit on my daughter. So thank you very much for the comments. And in terms of business, I actually didn't really become an entrepreneur until I had my daughter, because when 4 years ago, she's going to be 4 in November,
Okay.
she was the real focus in my life to realize what I needed to do and
Yeah.
to be great and to push barriers. So before that, I've been married for 5 years, I love my wife and she's amazing, but really you'll understand this when you have a child. Literally, you've got somebody depending on you for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
That's when things get real.
Yeah, they do. It's scary, isn't it? It's great because it really hones in what you need to do, and I think that was my moment, definitely, when I had my son. But yeah, I know there's lots of people that have been juggling being a parent and working, and now, almost this week it's been quite funny, because it's like you almost return back to that lockdown scenario where you're having a Zoom chat and then a hand sort of
I know.
comes across, but you're like, well, oh well, people are used to it now. You hope.
Well, what I've done with this week? Actually, I've actually taken this week off
Oh,
officially,
great.
but
Okay.
I'm not officially off right now. I mean, I'm monitoring my team. I basically said to my team, I want to create a team of managers, because
Yeah.
when we start growing,
Yeah.
you're going to need some assistance underneath you. So I've basically given my whole team autonomy to run Posh Cockney for this week. while I'm sort of looking from my perch and watching what's happening, but not getting involved. So I can spend more time with my daughter because I realize how important it is. There's no point doing all this work if you can't spend time with your
No,
loved
if you
ones.
can't take that time out, it's really important, isn't it? Definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. We touched on, obviously, mental health, resilience. Obviously, we've all needed to have a bit of resilience this year in one way or another. And obviously, mental health is a very prominent need right now. I mean, it's always been a need, but never more so this year than that's needed support. So, for those that are finding it difficult to move forward, what message would you say to people right now?
Mental health, I mean, it's been around for many, many years, but right now it's getting a lot more focus, and rightly so. I think the fact that people are talking to people more now and opening up is amazing. I know people will find it really hard. For me personally, I am really bad at opening up to people and telling them, like, if I'm the fear of failure, or am I doing something wrong, or whatever it may be. I work with a lady called Jennifer Cochrane. She's one of the Titans, Hospitality Titans, and she's got a organisation called Get Ahead, and they're phenomenal. And it's all about, I think people in hospitality, there's this sort of stigma where they don't have mental health problems because they're so, when you see somebody at a restaurant or a nightclub,
There's always a smile, and yeah.
They're the host, the smile is there, welcome, greeting. But there's stuff going on behind there sometimes. And I know that for a fact that, when I was at Cafe, I think, I suffered a lot with burnout when you're sort of 4 or 5 times a week hosting people at a nightclub and, having to be on show. And then when you come home, the time where you just want to be spending with your wife or your daughter, which should be the best times, you're actually drained, you're actually fatigued, you're not feeling your best. I actually put loads of I was physically in the worst shape of my life. I put loads of weight on because of the amount of alcohol and the partying, etc. So mental health, I wish I would have spoken to people more 4 or 5 years ago. I love being able to help now, and like I said, getting people like Jennifer on, and the Burnt Chef Project as well. These guys are great for hospitality. So definitely, to any of your listeners and viewers, you should reach out to these guys because they are pioneers right now.
Perfect. Now, tell us about this Hospitality Titans. I think it's time for you to tell us a little bit more about that. How did it come about, and what does it mean? What's it all about?
Well, I've given a few links to the Titans, haven't I? So I better talk about it. Look, the podcast was Hospitality Titans, as you know, as you was on there as well, and I wanted to put together a group of individuals that were in the same boat as I was. Either a new business or an old business, and needed help, and just wanted to talk to people and understand, what they were doing, how I could help them, how they could help me, because for me, there's no point being a great white shark when there's bloody waters. I'd rather be a pack of killer whales. That was how I've been selling it to people.
Yeah.
Hospitality Titans is an organisation where people in hospitality can come together as a family, and share ideas and referrals. I think is the best thing. I want in 2021 to have a group of people that I know will have my back, and if there's a job for marketing and PR or whatever it may be, they're going to come to Posh Cockney and because they know they can trust me, and they know that the way I've conducted myself during this whole time, I'm a company and a person that they can trust. And for me, I think it's a bit of giving back as well, because like you said, I have linked with so many people this year on the podcast and PCTV that I feel like I'm in a great place to be a voice for hospitality.
Yeah.
And my goal with this is in the next 3 or 4 years to be one of the biggest people in hospitality as a spokesman to, for change. Because I look at UK hospitality, and Kate Nichols is great, but she doesn't know my name. I mean, I think we spoke twice. She doesn't really represent me and my business. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to start something that does, and I'm going to have a group of people that I can trust as well, and that will help me grow and their businesses. It was, as I mentioned to you, it was actually meant to be a platform for new business. That will start in 2021 when we can get our networking events off the ground properly, and there's no there's no restrictions. But right now we're just putting together an A team of people that, you know, watch this space. There's going to be some phenomenal individuals within this group, and it would certainly be something that hopefully people in hospitality will want to be a part of and will use it to grow their business.
That sounds brilliant. And, you know, you are a powerhouse of ideas. And I know, besides all of this going on, I am sure you have some newer projects as well. Am I right? Or is that a right assumption? Or
Well, of course, yeah, you know me already, Jo. I've actually got 2 new business ideas that are on the boil right now. I'm actually opening my own restaurant very soon.
Amazing.
I thought, you know, we've opened many restaurants for many clients, and we work on many projects for clients. And I thought, you know, there's never been a better time to start something of my own. So I can't tell you what it is right now, but it will be very exciting, and it should be released within the next few weeks. And I'm also starting my own Baker Boy hats in the fashion scene. So as everyone sees me wearing flat caps everywhere I go, and the Posh Cockney symbol is the Baker Boy hat, I've actually designed, and we're just in manufacturing now, unisex hats for gentlemen and ladies. So
I love that.
I will send you one in the post.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah,
I look
so,
forward to that.
It's our symbol. It's our symbol. People see me in them all the time. I love them. I think they're a great statement piece, and you know, that they look cool as well. So hopefully you'll like them.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I love a good flat cap, and it's only going to be the best if it's created by you. So yeah, I've really enjoyed having a chat. I could talk to you for hours, but I know how these podcasts and vlogs go. We want to make sure it's you know, has packs a punch and has enough in it to keep people interested. So we'll share all your links to all of your different projects. Really lovely to have you on. I'm sure there'll be another time we have you back on, and you'll tell us some great updates, you know, some great insights there for people. So thanks for taking the time, and we'll speak to you again soon.
Thanks, Jo. And just before I go, best of luck with the series, and also look out for the email from the Titans to join the group as well. So,
lovely. I will do.
Great to have you as part of the organisation.
That's lovely. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.
Cheers.
Thank you so much, Liam, for taking the time to talk with me today. Really love listening to all of the different elements that you're working on at the moment, all the different projects, and I'm sure many people will be inspired to hear your story and find out more about what you're up to. Also a little bit about the past and how that may support others. We talked quite a lot about mental health and well-being, and you know, if anyone is affected by this, we are putting links in the comments so people know where to turn if they need to. It's important for people to talk and keep talking, so thank you for sharing your part and thoughts on that as well. And we wish you every success with Hospitality Titans, obviously your Posh Cockney and Posh Cockney TV and all your other projects. And we'll look forward to having a catch up with you soon. If you're enjoying the content and you would like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, we have got the link here, but we also run lots of different platforms. So we're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, and we would love to hear your thoughts and feedback on our sessions that we're running here. Any ideas of new people that you'd like us to talk with? We really would love your input, so please do reach out and let us know. Our next guest for episode 9 will be Lucy Brazier, and she's one of the leading authorities on the administrative profession. She's CEO of March and Publishing, and they are specialist publishers of Executive Secretary magazine. And Lucy and her team have really been embracing tech over these last few months. They ran global, which they would normally do in person, but they ran their international events via virtual. And also they ran a Exec Sec Tech event. So we're going to be talking to Lucy about all of that and also what she's got coming up. And I know she'll have some pearls of wisdom to share with you all. So watch out for that episode. As always, if you've got any questions for Lucy, please do let us know, and we'll make sure that we ask them for you. Thanks as always for listening. Bye.